Tom Uhas remembers the first time he planted a field.
I was 12 years old, and my dad gave me the use of a tractor. We traded labor, and it was a one-row corn picker, and I had a two-bottom plow. I'll never forget it. It was a 10-acre field. I saved up my money for years to plant that cornfield, picked that corn, planted it, did everything.
Decades later, he is still farming in the family business. He and his brother own Uhas Brothers LLC and Colebrook Elevators in Orwell and employ about 20 people. They have been farming together since 1974 and each have 2 sons who also work on the farm.
And you gotta have strong work ethics. You gotta be able to get up in the morning and go. Because that Mother Nature, she does not wait for you. When she gives you those days, you better be doing it or you're not gonna get to do it.
The growing season starts as early as April 15th and the planting season is done by June 20th.
We start out in the spring planting. That's probably the most critical period. Then we'll monitor the crops through the growing period. That's a pretty important job. And then we end up going to harvest, and then that's the second most important job to get done in a timely fashion. Northeast Ohio's weather is sometimes pretty cruel. It doesn't always do what you want it to.
The hope is that the weather will be the right combination of rain, sunshine, and dry periods to grow successful crops.
It's been pretty hard in Northeast Ohio to be profitable growing corn. We don't have the heat degree units that the rest of the country has because of the cloudiness. So we're a little bit disadvantaged, but when it comes to soybeans, Northeast Ohio can run with any state in the union as far as soybean production.
Wheat is one of their main crops, and it's a sweeter wheat used in ice cream cones, pastry, and in pet food. Depending on the day and time in the growing season, Tom says they use a number of different tools and pieces of equipment.
Different soils demand different equipment. So when a person's wanting to get started in farming, and they pick a farm, they're going to need to know the soil type. They're going to have to get busy and find out something from their neighbors and see what they're using. And they can do a little copycatting because they already know what they need to use. So startup farms, it's going to be pretty tough in the future though. Ooh.
While Tom uses traditional farming equipment, some farmers are still farming the fields by hand and even using horses instead of tractors. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average farmer makes about $69,300 a year. Tom says if it's a career you're interested in pursuing, take agriculture classes if they're offered at your school and go to a 4-year college.
Because I know a lot of farmers that their sons have went through it, and it pays big dividends. I would take business classes because as much production goes in, you got to be aware of where the markets are, where you're going to, try and be in the top 10 on your marketing. Because if you don't have that money coming in, you are not going to be doing it, and it takes a lot of money.
He says he has learned many things the hard way by making mistakes as he goes along.
That's how I paid for my college over the years is, well, I shouldn't have done that, or why did I do that, or I didn't plant it deep enough, or I planted it too deep. You get a corn plant that's not deep enough, you are in serious problem with that corn crop. That 1.5 or deeper. Northeast Ohio is one of the hardest places to get stuff out of the ground because we have a clay-based soil that crusts over, and that plant won't push through.
Even though he has been farming all of these years, he says there is still something special about seeing his crop start from just a small seed.
I'll tell you what, when you dig up a seed and you see that seed sprouting in the ground and pushing its way through and doing what it does, that's a gift from God there. I'm telling you what, that really, that's touching that little plant, what it does and what it can produce. It's amazing what Mother Earth does for us to survive here, really, when you think about it. Because if those plants aren't growing, there's none of us going to be left around here.